Are you craving pancakes but don't want all those pesky bites or points to get in the way? Here's a recipe that you're going to love for a quick, easy pancake breakfast that is very good on bites and points. It's coming up now. Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook, an amateur baker, and I am here sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, either my own recipes or those of others. And the recipe we're doing today came from a friend of mine, Cammie, over on Instagram, and I will leave her Instagram handle here in case you'd like to follow her. She's done a lot of meal prep and things like that, but lately she hasn't been doing as much just because she's expecting, so she's not as active as she was before, but there are still things on her page that I'm sure you can find some benefit from. So these are Cammie's blueberry Greek yogurt pancakes, and what you're going to need is a half a cup of flour, a tablespoon of the sweetener of your choice. I'm using Swerve. If you know me by now, you know I like Swerve. That's a 1-to-1 replacement with sugar. If you were using something that's more concentrated, you'd want to alter to equal a tablespoon of sugar. There's also a teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda. Pinch of salt. We have our half cup of Greek yogurt. Now I left it out last night just to warm it up so it incorporates a little bit better, and you can see how watery that gets, but don't worry about that. You're going to include all of this into the recipe. We also have a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, just a hint, and this is vanilla actually that came from Cammie. She had sent me some Mexican vanilla, which just lifting it up, I can smell that delicious scent. And just 1/8 teaspoon of almond extract. You're gonna use an egg or 2 egg whites. Now I'm using egg whites. I usually use an egg, but I'm using egg whites because I had them left over from another recipe and I didn't want them to go to waste. But you can just use 1 egg. And here we have a 1/3 cup of water. I usually only use about a 1/4 cup. The recipe calls for a 1/4 to a 1/3. So how much water you might use depends on a few things like how moist your Greek yogurt is, the humidity in the air. It'll affect how much moisture is absorbed by the flour. So just play it by ear, but you want just like a thick batter that's not too thick, but not too runny. And I will show you when we get there. And then we have, because these are blueberry pancakes, we have a half cup of blueberries that I rinsed. What Cammie does and what I do is, after I put the pancakes on the griddle, I will add the blueberries so that they're evenly spaced, but you could, if you wanted to, mix them in with the batter at the end. Okay, so we're gonna start with the flour. You're gonna basically mix everything except the blueberries, but I always add the dry ingredients together and then just incorporate those before adding the other things, because you want to make sure that everything is evenly distributed and you're not having pockets of baking soda or salt or anything. So I usually will mix the dry stuff all together, and I'm just whisking it lightly with a fork. I'm not getting crazy with bringing the whisk out. That's it. Let's get rid of these things. Okay, then we're going to add in our yogurt. Now this, using Greek yogurt definitely gives them some moisture, some much needed moisture, but without any points or bites. Now I'm on the Better Balance, I almost said Better Balance Blue. I'm on the iTrack Bites Better Balance plan, which is equivalent to WW Blue. So you can assume they're pretty synonymous. Adding in the extracts and the egg whites. And then you're just going to mix this up. And then once you've gotten this mixed together, you're going to judge how much of the water you might need to loosen this batter up. Lift this up so you don't get a bunch of clacking noises from it hitting the countertop. Now you see that is a pretty thick batter. You definitely don't want it this thick. So I'm going to add in some water. And these come together pretty quickly. I'm only going to add about half of the water right now and then just see how loose the batter is and if it's loose enough to work with. Okay, that looks like it's almost there, just a little bit looser than that. Now, you don't have to use vanilla extract or almond extract. You could use another extract. Now, because these are blueberry pancakes, you could add a little lemon zest to the batter here. That would be very tasty. But there you have it. It can kind of drop off the spatula, but it's not just pouring off. So that's about what you want. Now, if you, like I said, if you wanted to, you could add the blueberries right now. I'm going to evenly space them, tablespoons of them onto each pancake. But if you don't want to go through that hassle, you can add them in here. It will just affect the distribution. Some might have more, some might have less, but they're 0 bite, 0 point food, so I wouldn't worry about it. Now you could also obviously use other fruits, chopped up strawberries, some bananas, and I do have some other pancake recipes on my blog. I have a pumpkin pancake, I have gingerbread, I believe I have the eggnog on there, and I don't know if I put the apple cinnamon on there, but you can play around with this recipe. Like I've said before in other videos, you don't want to feel tied down to one specific flavor or one way of doing things. So this is very adaptable. I've made a few variations of it. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for a moment while I heat up the griddle and get some sausage started for our breakfast. All right, so the griddle is heated up. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of cooking spray. Sometimes I will also use, I can't believe it's not butter spray, just to give it a little of that buttery flavor. So I'll grab some of that. And I won't spray this on until I've turned them over, just to give them a little butter flavor that isn't going to be there with the cooking spray, unless you use the butter version. Now, for the sausage that I'm using, I am trying these Jones all-natural turkey sausages. This is not sponsored because I haven't even tried these yet, so I'm hoping they're good because you can have 4 for 2 bites. So hopefully they're good and we will have a new breakfast sausage that is pretty good on bites and points. Okay, and I also have a sheet pan with a cooling rack inside because I'm going to cook these up and then put them in just a warm oven just to keep them warm while I'm taking care of other things. if you were doing a larger group, you could obviously double, triple this recipe and then just cook them off, and as they're ready, you put them onto the sheet pan in the warm oven to keep them warm so you don't have to worry about trying to get everyone served at one time and things like that. And there goes my oven. It's definitely warmed up, ready for some pancakes. So I'm using a number 24 scoop. You use about a 1/4 cup of the batter per pancake. And I'm using this scoop just to try to make things a little more uniform. You could use obviously a measuring cup as well. And I will kind of underfill it a little bit just to make sure there's enough of the batter for 6, because you're going to get 6 pancakes out of this. And each one is going to be a single bite or point. And it's a true 1 bite pancake. So in other words, if you get 2, it'll be 2 bites. If you get 3, it'll be 3 bites. Now, one thing I did notice in the iTrack Bites app, and I don't know if I ever noticed this in the WW app, but using the recipe builder, typically I don't input 0-point foods when I'm doing the recipe builder, or 0-bite foods. And I noticed in trying to get the macros and calories accurate for this recipe that it was coming up a little different than it should have. Now, while I'm talking, I'm going to add a tablespoon of blueberries to each of these pancakes. So I input every item, and I noticed that some of the 0-bite items were actually registering as bites. So when I first input this into the recipe builder, it came up as 1 for 1, 2 for 2, and 4 for 3, which is not accurate. So I had to go in, and on iTrack Bites, they allow you to register something as a 0-bite food. So if you are inputting everything, including the 0-bite foods, just make sure you check on the recipe builder. When you put that ingredient in, make sure you mark that it's a 0-bite food, or it may come up registering as something that's using points or bites that it is not. Okay guys, so this is what I am talking about so far as entering the 0-bite foods into the recipe builder. Going to go to food and then scroll over to recipes. Now I'm going to go down to the pancakes that I just made, and you'll see that it's coming up as 1 bite, and if I alter the servings to 3, it's at 3 bites as it should be. However, if I go up here and hit edit so that I can take eggs, and see how right here I have the green tab next to 0-bite foods marked. If I uncheck that, you'll see that nothing changes on this screen. It still says 0 bites. But if I save it, now you'll see eggs are listed as 2 bites for some reason. It's a glitch with the iTrack Bites. I don't know if it also works the same way with WW Recipe Builder. But I am going to go back into eggs, and I'm going to, next to 0-bite food, I'm going to hit that again, go back, and now you see it's a 0-bite food. So, oh, and I didn't show you the change in the recipe itself. So if I save this, and then now go to 3 servings, it's coming up as 4 bites, which it's not, because the eggs should not be counted. So I'm going to edit this again, go back in, fix the eggs back to the 0-bite food, save it, and now it should be back to 3 for 3 bites, and it is. Now, one more thing while I'm on here is this editing feature is also how you can alter what measurement you're using for things. I tend to prefer to weigh things because you sometimes get more, but it's difficult to find them that way. So what you do is, let's say I'm going to go in with the first item, all bran, and you hit edit. Now, it's at 41 grams. That's what it said on the box, which equals 4 bites. But if I go in here, I can change it to anything. I can change it to boxes, bottles, gallons, milligrams, etc., pieces. So pounds. So I'm going to store it as what it was, grams. And that way I can weigh it. This normally came up as, when I scanned it, it came up as cups. So now it's going to be grams so that I can easily measure it. And that you'll find here under My Food, at least on the iTrack Bites app. I don't know if there is a way to do any of this on the WW app, but that is how it works on the iTrack Bites app. So I hope that helps somebody. And like I said, I usually don't input 0 bite foods, but because I'm doing the blog and people are interested in calories and macros, I'm inputting everything so I can get that accurate. But normally for myself, I would not enter it. But if you are entering them to keep calories or macros in check, then definitely make sure you're hitting the 0 bite if you know that that item is 0 bites. And that is all. I will get back to regularly scheduled programming now. Now, obviously, I'm being a little fussy about getting these on here. But like I said, you don't have to do this. You could add these berries directly into the batter and just be a little less obsessive compulsive than I'm being. But it's not totally up to you. You can do it this way. You can also, if you didn't want to add fruit, you could use some Lily's chips, sugar-free chips, to make these into like a chocolate chip, pumpkin chip, white chocolate chip pancake. But that's up to you. You'll obviously need to adjust the points if you use something else. So let me get rid of this and I will be right back. So what you're looking for when you're doing pancakes is around the edge, you want them to start to have some bubbles coming up and they start to look a little dry. This one's starting to get it around here. They're starting to form a little bit at the edge. And once, it's usually about 3 minutes. Once you see that starting to set on the edge, that's when you flip them. But I will give these another minute or so. All right, so these look fairly well set. You can see little bubbles forming. They're getting a little drier looking around the edge. And now is a good time to flip. Look at that beautiful color. It's exactly what you want. So like I said, about 3 minutes on the first side. It'll be about 2 minutes on the second side. Now I always have to be a little more cautious because of my neuropathy and myopathy. When I'm flipping, if my hands aren't steady, I have lost a few. Not permanently, but they didn't look that pretty once I was done. And now is when I will spray these with a little of the, I can't believe it's not butter spray, just to give them, like I said, a little buttery flavor without all the points or bites. Okay, so I'll give that a minute. Now you could also use, like I'm going to use my Vermont sugar-free syrup, the one I liked. Paul doesn't like sugar-free syrups, so what I'm going to do is just warm up some jelly You could do that with sugar-free jelly to make it into a syrup. I'm going to do that for Paul, but without the sugar-free. He's not a fan of sugar-free. Now let's just check these. Just another minute or two. And then, like I said, I'm going to transfer them to this rack and finish up the sausage and get the plate together. And then we will be ready to eat. That's better. So this is what you're looking for. You just want it browned. It's not going to be as browned evenly as the top. It's going to be more speckled like that. But that is what you're looking for. Now I had my griddle at 350 degrees, or if I were doing it in a skillet, I would probably do it at a medium to medium high, just to make sure that they cook through. So let's transfer these to the wire rack. So let me clear up this, put these in the warm oven, get everything set, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. Okay, so there you have it. My 5-bite breakfast, 5 Blue Point breakfast. 3 pancakes for 3 points, 3 bites, and 4 of these turkey sausages that I'm hoping are going to be good for 2. So this is a delicious way to start your day, and I hope you will give them a try. Okay, pause. I was apparently too eager to eat breakfast and forgot to ask you to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, to leave a comment below, or to share this video, and definitely hit that notification bell for the next time I upload a video. And I guess that's it. I've now done my job. Okay, back to the video. And I thank Cammie for sharing this recipe with me. Now I'm going to go enjoy. Until next time, bye.